Well, we were living in Brooklyn. Well, I was living in Brooklyn alone, bachelor, hipster, eating oysters, drinking beer, building computer systems, really large systems, the kind of systems that send you junk mail, as well as large financial and insurance companies. Really interesting stuff. What I did really well there was make those systems work really fast and simply. But most of the time I was just sitting in a cubicle. After I got married to Kate, previous to that I had bought a cabin up here. And after I got married, you know, we didn't go out as much anymore. Not as much beer and oysters and all of that. So we were just in a very expensive apartment and not getting out much. And we really enjoyed being up here at the cabin. So we made a decision to just get out of the city and move up to the cabin. But we weren't going to farm. We were going to homestead. And we were going to sell whatever extra eggs and vegetables we had and try to make a living that way at the cabin. You know, we don't do pigs for money, but having a profitable farm enables you to have the homestead that we had. Rather than pretending the homestead's going to earn money, we have a farm that earns money, and now we can have pigs and bees and raspberries and fruit trees, raise trout, whatever we want to do. And we don't have that pressure that they need to earn their keep. What they do is they provide the best food possible. I was a vegetarian for more than 20 years, maybe 25 years, because I just didn't want to buy meat where I didn't know where it was from. I don't care where a tomato's from. If it's organic, that's nice, but you know, they're not going to torture the tomato. But for pigs, it's important that they're treated well. And you can't get better than this, you know, living in the woods. So we both quit our jobs, moved up. We came up with about $30,000 and quickly realized that we were not going to be able to earn any money homesteading at our cabin. And this property, which is just a few hundred yards down the road, was the model. And we were going to go looking for something just like this, with the river, beautiful barn, farmhouse. It's just gorgeous. And we couldn't find anything. So we approached the owners to see if we could farm it. And I came up with a big plan, which was all bullshit, because I didn't know what I was doing. But I needed to impress them and tell them I've been doing this for a very long time and it'll be successful, don't you worry. And they were totally awesome and let us do it. This is one of the first fields we went to. It's all rock. So we were pretty to see it just, you couldn't get a shovel in here, you see? You couldn't even get it an inch down. And it doesn't matter where you go. It's all solid rock. So we had to go back to them and see if we can check some other spots around the land. We were hoping, you know, we find one place where we at least get the shovel down. Because you can certainly remove rocks, but you have to know that when you do remove the rocks, there'll be some soil left. You know, we're getting closer to one of those spots here. There we go. It's like bands of areas where it's, 50% rock or less. And that's pretty good. You can start removing that depending on how motivated you are. And so we were able to kind of shovel out our first half an acre of some sort of relative square that wasn't totally full of rocks. We started out very wide. We had chickens, laying hens. We had meat birds, meat chickens, pigs, bees for honey. We were even raising trout in the pond to sell. We were very wide. And we quickly realized that we needed to narrow things down, narrow our focus. And we just dropped the pigs, we dropped the chickens, we dropped all of that and focused on raising vegetables. That was hard enough. And we tilled and broke a little bit of ground the first year, maybe half an acre, maybe slightly more, and lived hand to mouth. Did maybe 32,000, I think, that first year, and saved for a van. That was our big purchase, an old Econoline. We were just putting the back, picnic coolers in the back of our little Subaru, and that's how we go to market. Throw the tent on top, put the picnic coolers in the back. So the van was huge. But there was nothing efficient about the operation. We would spend 12 to 14 hours a day, every day, working. I mean, it would come out to probably pennies an hour, I think. And so it was that early experience of such hard work with very little return that made us focus on, let's keep this simpler, let's make this efficient, and let's systematize everything and focus on that. And as soon as we did that, the farm started turning around, and we were able to really focus in on earning a living. And we more than doubled our profit the second year. And then I think we did 3 times that by the third year. By the third year, we were just taking off. We had wash station, walk-in, bought our first electric cart to drive around. And we had dropped tilling at that point and just went to no-till. And it was really just to simplify the process. It wasn't really a political or, how would you go? Yeah. That it would somehow be better for the soil. Although I think it is, it was really about, we need to get from A to B as quick as possible and remove as many steps. And also to be able to have steps that workers could do. And teaching a worker to use a broad fork is easy, but a BCS is a completely different monster. And so it was just one of those many things that we removed. And it was just a series of small changes from that point till now that created this farm. And it's happening all the time now. I stopped weeding and cultivating and planting, and I really focused my time on those systems, either improving them or managing them. There wasn't a certain time in which I stopped doing all that field work and just managing. It's just sort of a slow shift. into it. Our first season, the weeds were here. We would look for vegetables. And it was that weed pressure that created the weed systems we have now, which is completely eliminating them, eliminating that problem. Our struggles of washing vegetables, where we would wash in a single sink and put them in a picnic cooler, created the systems that we have now, that constant drive to make it better and to make it easier. And so from that field that we leased on what we thought was the most beautiful piece of land, the model for if we were able to someday create another farm, we're still here and we just bought it. That first year, there wasn't a lot of moments where you sit back and say, yeah, this is going well. It was more, one of us would be really down, and the other one would have to pretend that everything was going well. And then that person would get a break, and then the other person would be really down, and the other person would pretend everything's going okay. Don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine. I think I was the most optimistic. I would tell Kate, it's hard now, but in a few years, we're gonna own the place. We're gonna have greenhouses. We'll have a van that doesn't break down. We'll have some people here who can do some of the weeding and harvesting. I think I believed it. Or I convinced myself it was true. But as we went into the second year and we started improving the systems, that year I think we could stand back and say, I can see how it could work. I can see that if we continue with this, it's going to get better. It's not good now, but it's definitely going to get better. And it was really the third year, which we were fully no-till. We had definite systems in place. Our beds would produce at least 70 to 85% of the time, which was pretty high compared to the first year, which was closer to 10. And as the farm started producing more, we decided not to get bigger and just to use that extra time to start to take days off. Last year, during the main season, we took Sunday off every week. We never came in on Sunday. And all the workers had 2 days off. This year, we take 2 days off. Every week. We always are off on Sunday and Monday. And I think in farming it's a huge accomplishment to be able to do that. But you have to decide that you're not going to keep expanding. We want to continue to improve, but we don't want more growing area. We're kind of getting addicted to having a normal schedule. I wish there was like an aha moment that we had, but it was a series of really small changes that, when I look at them now, I know that they were the beginnings of what we do today, but they're almost ridiculous as I think about them Like a good example is the task tickets. The beginnings of that was I tried to force all the workers to bring a pen and paper with them. And that didn't work so well, so I provided the paper every day and I provided the pens. It still didn't work so well. But this was a slow realization that that wasn't working. And then I went to a dry erase board where I would write down the row numbers and bed numbers and what to do. And that wasn't working so well either. And so there's these small improvements until I had a task ticket. And that task ticket started off very simply. But each one of those things, even having the worker have a pen and paper and writing down what they're going to do for their task, was a huge improvement over what we were doing before, which was, can you go to that place? There's a rock there, I think, and I think there's some broccoli in the rows, and then there's some carrots, and you're going to weed that. But we didn't know where we were going. We were just intent on making it work, whatever that was. You know, I'm not young, so I got to think about retirement. I got to think about making life a little easier. And that's what drove us to make what we consider real money. Money that not just paid the bills, but money that we could save. Money that we could use to retire and maybe take it easy. I'd like to save some of my energy for playing with the kids, going on vacation, and just relaxing a little bit and enjoying what we built, enjoying what the farm can pay for. That was very important to us, and we thought we would have to expand greatly to be able to do it. But we found if we did it the right way, we were able to earn the kind of money that we needed. You know, it's not cheap to live and have health and pay for a new roof on your house, get a new car if you need it, and to take some little time off. One thing we did when we started is we kind of stuck our head in the sand and we had no idea what other farms were doing. And the reason we did that was, or the reason I did that, was because I thought I would feel really bad about how we were performing if I knew what other farms were doing. And so it pushed us to really work hard and try to do better, because I think if I had known, I would have been really scared that we wouldn't be able to have the kind of life we wanted. To be able to take care of the family and provide for the kids. So in a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because I didn't want to feel like I had to have a 10-acre, a 15-acre, 20-acre, a 30-acre or more farm and buy tractors so that I could earn that kind of money. I was kind of living in ignorance, but it worked for us.
Can we go in the water, Papa?
No, you can't go in the water. You know why? Because it rained really hard and it's very high. This is for big people swimming, not little people. Look how deep it is. Did you see how deep it is? You see how deep? Right? That's scary water. You can't go in there.